Hold up. Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step. I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet.
Welcome back, y'all. This is the Double M Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jesus Dinero, here with my co-host,
Puma El Gato.
What do we got going on tonight, my man?
After dominating all 12 rounds, Ryan Garcia is the new WBC welterweight champion. Let's talk about it.
So listen, we just got done watching the fight. Fight literally ended. In fact, right now I'm staring at a screen with Shakur and the other individuals, including Terrence Crawford, talking about what they saw in the fight, how they saw it go, all that good stuff. So the fight literally just ended. So we're recording this, letting you guys know what we think. Listen, man, Ryan dominated everything. There wasn't one good thing that I can say about Barrios except the fact that he managed to make it to the 12th round, especially after getting knocked down in the first round. That being said, listen, man, I said it in our review of this fight before this fight happened. Barrios is the weakest champion. Barrios was the weakest champion. So, yes, Ryan did great. And I'll be honest with you, there's actually quite a few things that I did like that Ryan was doing. But we got to take it with a grain of salt because, yes, Ryan won. And he won dominantly. And he looked good doing it. But he did it against the weakest champion. You know, as I was watching the fight, I was telling my brother here, if you watch the fight from a Shakur standpoint, there's things that you can already see as a game plan. For example, Ryan started gassing out kind of early. And mind you, this is Ryan gassing out with him just throwing punches because Barrios wasn't really throwing any sort of offense. The occasional flurry here and there and around, but that's about it. Ryan really didn't have to worry about anything coming back to him. Ryan didn't have to worry about any real power, anything, if I'm being honest with you. So, yes, Ryan won. He won dominantly, and he looked good doing it because he did everything right. He had good footwork. He kept on moving around the ring. He kept on centering Barrios, getting him back to the middle, which is where he wanted to be. Anytime his back touched the ropes, he was able to go either left or right and get out of there. All those are good things. Great things. He looked good against the weakest champion. While I want to praise Ryan for grabbing his first title, the WBC title, that's great and all, but he, at the end of the fight, called out the man that we kind of knew he was going to call out, Shakur Stevenson. And this isn't a mirror image of what Shakur did with Teo. Teo was a good champion. Not as good as Shakur, obviously, because he lost to Shakur, but this isn't a mirror. Barrios is not on the level of a Teofimo Lopez. So while Ryan looked great, just like Shakur looked great, it's not equivalent. So what do I personally think if that fight were to come? I think Shakur takes it. That's a topic for a different day. As far as tonight, Ryan did great. He landed a lot of good rights to everybody's surprise. But, you know, maybe it's obviously because Goosen and Barrios made sure to keep up the gloves. That way Ryan couldn't touch him with his signature left hook. Ryan kept on landing that right over and over, though, to the point where I guess, according to his father, he actually injured that hand. So, listen, phenomenal standout performance by Ryan. He looked great doing it. Landed everything that he really wanted to land. The only thing that would have been the cherry on top was if he would have gotten him out of there before the 12th round. He didn't, but if I'm being honest with you, man, I think when it came to the 10th round, I told him, honestly, man, at this point, he could just go for it. Because what's the worst that happens? Let's say Ryan would have gotten knocked down the last 3 rounds. Wouldn't have made a difference. He was so far ahead, there was no way. There was no way that it would have gone over to Barrios. Listen, man, Barrios is a great guy. He's a good human, great individual. He's not at that level for a champion. Doesn't matter if he becomes champion again through another belt, through another form. He's always going to be the weakest champion. It's kind of crazy to think that not that long ago, Ryan Garcia was losing his fight against Rollies. And Rollies is not that great of a champion either, but he's way better than a Barrios. Barrios is the definition of the weakest champion. So shout out to Ryan capturing his first belt. Good for him. Phenomenal. Ryan, take it with a grain of salt because, again, Barrios just isn't that dude. And the guy that you called out is, in fact, that dude. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a good fight if it does come to fruition. Both of them are going to think they're that guy, so maybe the negotiations are going to take a little bit. But listen, we'll see what happens, man. What do you think about the fight, brother?
You know, it is amazing to me that this is basically, at least to me, what played out for Ryan Garcia was basically a glorified exhibition match that happened to have the WBC welterweight title at the prize at the end of that fact. And look, usually if it is a big marquee matchup, you can usually tell how a fight is going to end, or at the very least, you can at least tell when the tail is basically turning, the beginning of the end is happening. during that match. You can tell there's a pivotal moment when something like that is going to happen, when you think, okay, this guy's going to win it. I just didn't expect that very pivotal moment to happen within the first 10 seconds of the very first round. The fact of the matter is, Mario Barrios got knocked down by a pretty easy telegraph punch by Ryan Garcia. And to be fair to Ryan Garcia, he employed a lot of great game plans. For one thing, he was mixing it both up and down, going in for gut checks, going in for head hunting a little bit, but never straying too much up top, never straying too much on the bottom. He knew when exactly to mix it up, both on the approach and on the end. The fact that he was doubling up the jab and even going in for massive combinations, and he kept landing them all night, landing combinations all night on Mario Barrios, and the fact that Mario Barrios couldn't catch up with him at all. In fact, one of the things that I saw that Ryan Garcia was doing to Mario Barrios, which he kept falling for, was the fact that he kept stiff arming him all night, and every single time Mario Barrios, for whatever reason, just respected it. And look, I understand that people are going to draw comparisons with this fight and the Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez fight, and I do think there are some parallels here. For one thing, I do think what I said of the Shakur and Teo fight, I think does apply to this match only in one specific aspect. And I do agree with you that Teofimo, at least on the B side here, isn't the same level of champion as Mario Barrios. I do think Shakur Stevenson is levels above Mario Barrios, but the one thing I do think played out in the Shakur Stevenson and Teo fight versus this fight is the same tape. Ryan and Shakur both respected Teo enough of their respective opponents, and Shakur Stevenson Teofimo Lopez and Mario Barrios respected their respective opponents way too much. Mario Barrios looked pretty much intimidated from round 1 to round 12 and was basically very timid, gave very conservative amount of punches. Look, man, Mario Barrios got started on the 8th round. At that point, you were down 8 rounds, brother. There is no wanting to be conservative, no wanting to be tactical. No, dog, you got to throw everything. You got to throw everything in the kitchen sink. And the fact that you got started so late, and the fact that all you were throwing were single jabs, brother, at that point, you might as well be giving them the welterweight belt at this point. He did way too little, and the fact that, again, I've said this at the beginning of this rant, this was a glorified exhibition match, and Ryan Garcia was here to showcase his skills, and he basically looked absolutely phenomenal against Mario Barrios. But again, like you said, Mario Barrios is the weakest champion for the welterweight division, and yes, the obvious fight is that Ryan Garcia called it out at the end of the match. He said he wants Shakur Stevenson next. And I do think that is the fight to make. I actually do want to see that fight. But that being said, this isn't a 1-to-1 of the Shakur Stevenson and Teo fight. And yes, there are parallels. It's not 1-to-1. Shakur Stevenson is very much that guy. And Teofimo Lopez was very much that champion. Not against Shakur Stevenson, mind you. I don't think this isn't a 1-to-1 parallel. Teofimo was that guy. Shakur Stevenson is that guy. Ryan Garcia, I don't think he's going to be that enough of a guy against Shakur Stevenson. But that is my analysis on all that. That's my analysis going forward. What do you think about my analysis on that?
No, yeah, man. I think we can all pretty much agree on that. I do think that there's levels to the game, and I don't think that Ryan is at the same level as Shakur. I'm just being honest with you guys right now. I think it would be an interesting fight to see because Ryan would have to step up his game dramatically for that to be a thing. And listen, man, if I'm being honest, I don't know if Ryan has it in him. Ryan made a lot of mistakes that I saw going into tonight, and you can't make those types of mistakes against Shakur. Shakur will pick you apart. Ryan got tired pretty fast, so if you're Shakur, hey, man, let him throw punches at you, which Ryan would absolutely do. Most of those which Shakur would slip. And once he gets tired, which he did, he actually got tired right around the 6th, 7th round, start beating him up, which Shakur would definitely be able to do by that point. Ryan just unleashed early on, which is kind of Ryan's go-to, which is, again, not a problem at all. But against Shakur, you gotta be more crafty. Against Shakur, you can't do that because Shakur's going to dodge most of all that. Shakur's going to play with you. Shakur's going to dance around the ring. So you can't play the same game that you did with Mario Barrios. Again, all due respect to Mario Barrios, he's the weakest champion. Ryan looked great against someone that, I'm being honest with you, I don't think it should ever have been champion. I think these last 2 draws before this fight kind of proved that Mario Barrios just isn't that guy. And the fact that Ryan called out Shakur, hey, shout out to him for being brave. Shout out to him for wanting to take on the best challenges, which, to be fair, Ryan has done. But that's going to be a shout-out performance. Either way, listen, respect due to Ryan Garcia. His job is to win the fight. He won the fight. He looked good doing it. So regardless of all the BS we were just saying and all the negativity, at the end of the day, you got to give it a try. And he came in, he did his job, and he did it looking phenomenally. Either way, we'll keep you guys tuned in. We're actually going to be attending a boxing fight live here in Phoenix. Actually, Glendale this upcoming weeks. We'll talk to you guys about that in a different video. We'll be filming live from there as well, kind of giving you guys updates as we see the fight. We'll drop in some of the videos and the footage that we take in there. It's going to be a good fight as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.